Back at you with another episode of Real Talk. We want to thank our sponsors at Facebook Journalism Project and also at Park Bank. Thank you for holding us down this long. Back to my man, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, for our weekly update. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. It's funny because I don't really know a different answer every week, man. I'm doing okay. You know, everything is no major disruptions, so I'm doing good. What about you?
Yeah, you know, it's funny, like we're saying offline. Time is flying. I can't even recognize August. Like, man, it's August already, which is, you know, my kids go back to school in September, that's a whole different fiasco and craziness that, like, yeah, I'm not looking forward to dealing with that whole issue. So,
so even as a parent, if I could switch roles here, so even as a parent, like, what does that look like for you? Are you looking to do in person or virtual learning? Like, what do you suggest?
Yeah, for me, I'm doing virtual. I mean, like, even if, so, you know, where I live in the rural suburbs of Madison, even if they open up, they're really trying to talk about opening back up. My kids will not be guinea pigs in that situation. And so we will be doing virtual learning, but that comes with a whole different, like, you know, I work full time. My wife works full time. So that means you got to find tutors and all that stuff, but you don't want tutors in your house. You have to find virtual. So it's all this, it's complicated. The good thing though is with the virtual education, I could tweak things. So what I can do is I want my kids to learn about Black history, more Black history. So I can find ways to put that into their curriculum that the school might not do, right? So there's things that I can do that I have more freedom to do because I have more.
You just teach whatever you want to teach them.
Well, I have more say in what they say. Like, so the schools can teach what they have. We'll follow that curriculum, obviously. But I'm also saying, well, look, that I can also fit in the stuff that I feel is important that they don't teach, like Black history. Like I could, like, so there's some upsides to it, but it's not, it's difficult, man. It is difficult, doing. So it's not, I get why a lot of parents want to have their kids back in school. I totally get that, man. I get it for practical reasons of, like, you know, you want to make sure that you want to work and you want some freedom. But I don't feel comfortable making my kids being guinea pigs of if something happens in school, they get it. Like I'm not willing to do that.
That's totally understandable.
Yeah, I'm not willing to do it, but. You don't have a kids yet, so you'll see that one day when you get there, you'll see. Hopefully,
yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully, by the time I have kids, this will be all done with.
Yeah, well, right.
It's not a choice I have to make, but yeah, I do not envy you.
So, which leads me to the mask. So we always talk about the bounce back, and we just talked about this, and now the governor mandated that a statewide mandate for masks. What, like?
The bounce back. I mean, we're in quicksand right now, man. It's 404 new cases today. We are slowly or quickly, however you want to look at it, approaching 1,000 total deaths in the state. You know, our positive test rate is a little over 5%, 5.6%. And, you know, the total confirmed cases over the stretch of this thing is over 55,000. And our 7-day average is still 844 new cases. And on Saturday, we recorded our second highest daily increase with 1,062 new cases.
So educate me. So before, I thought the governor didn't have the right to make a mandate for statewide, for lockdowns, etc., but he does have the authority to do a decision on masks statewide?
Well, I think that the first interpretation was completely misguided. And also, we expect that there will probably be some sort of legal challenge. But at this point, you know, it comes down to what is going to be done to protect the health and safety of people who live here. I mean, that's what it all comes down to, right? Like, if they want to challenge this, then let them go ahead and challenge it. But we're going to do everything we can while we can to keep people safe. I mean, that is the responsible thing to do.
So you expect them to challenge on the same grounds they did last time? Is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, well, so the thing is, what the statement was that they put out is they said that the challenge won't come from the legislature. They assume that some private party will will bring a suit. And so it's like, okay, we're not going to do it, but we'll encourage somebody else to do it. Doing a little wink in the gun to somebody to tell them, hey, you should go challenge this, and we'll make sure that you have all the resources you need. Don't be scared. Just do it. If you want to challenge it, do it. Don't run it high from it. Be tough. Like, I'm tired. Like, don't play scared. Like, don't throw rocks hide your hands, man. Show up. If you feel that passionate about it, show up to court like you did last time, and get yourself involved in whatever lawsuit you want to get involved in. And I think some of it is them having a caution with it being an election year, understanding how unfavorably Americans view Donald Trump's handling of COVID-19, and they have an attachment to it, like I said, because it didn't have to be this bad in Wisconsin. We didn't have to be one of the worst states, but unfortunately, that lawsuit helped put us in this position, with regards to other states in the country, and if they don't want to take responsibility again for their actions when they will be responsible if there is another lawsuit. Like I said, this is something that they are encouraging, so they may as well just do it.
Well, my guess is that they've done some polling on this in the state, and they figure out that's their stance is not a popular one, and the election's coming up, and they know. My guess is you and the governor. At least if it was me, I'd use this as a campaign issue. Like, look, this is the Republicans have made. I guess I really would. I would be like, when Trump's coming to town, I'd be like, look, the Republicans kind of made a decision to open back up the state, and look what happened. Like, I would really push that back on the Republican, and I think that's fair. Actually, again, I always say this. I don't take sides in politics, but I would say that it seems like that's the fair thing to do. They opened back the state up. They gambled. The gamble went wrong. They have to take accountability for it.
Right, and that's the thing, though. It was a gamble on the backs of the people of this state, right? Like, it wasn't like they were gambling with their own health. They all have health insurance. They're all doing okay. We're talking about people who are vulnerable, who are in some very, challenging life situations. And that's whose backs they were gambling on. And it is just an absolute fact that the health of the people of Wisconsin was completely disregarded, still is disregarded. You see this one state representative who, I'm not even going to name him, you do the research yourself. This is after Senator Fitzgerald said that you want the legislature to come in or whatever. There's another state representative who said that they should have a special session to address the mask mandate. So you want to have a special session to combat the combating of COVID-19, which couldn't be more ridiculous. And this dude's wife is a lobbyist for a health insurance company, which is the wild part about it. It's like, so what does this even mean? From any practical standpoint? Obviously, in your household, you have a member of your house who talks about obviously, health insurance companies don't want to spend money. So they want to prevent people from having to go to the hospital. They just want you to charge you the premiums, and they want to charge you as much as they can without you actually having to go to the hospital, which is another story. But it perplexes me, man. It gives me a headache just processing, And the problem is there is no logic when they say these things and when they act as the way they do.
Yeah, it goes back to what I'm saying about school. I don't want to put that, like, that's a risk. Like, so when they opened the state back up, that was a risk. It was a gamble. It wasn't on science. It was a gamble on, ideology. And it didn't work. I mean, the gamble, it was wrong. The question is, will voters hold them accountable for that when their elections are up? I mean, that's the question. Right. I mean, that's key. If not, then it doesn't matter. They can gamble all they want, So the gov is, you guys did the mandate. I've been reading that the governor's going to be endorsing Biden soon, too, like you did. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would make sense. And I hear that you are like you're a big deal for the convention. I'm hearing you're a big deal, like a big deal around this convention, man. I hear you. So what's your title? Vice chair?
I have been named one of the vice chairs for the Democratic National Convention, and it's truly an honor, man. I'm very excited about this. I was very excited when we got convention and to have this take place in my hometown. I'm just honored to have a formal role in the proceedings of this convention.
So what does that mean, being vice chair of the convention? Like, I just hear like you running stuff, right? Like, so like you're the vice chair of the convention. That means you have a visible role. I mean, what does that mean? Do you know how that's been defined? Because you said you're one of other vice chairs.
So there are a number of us. My buddy, my fellow lieutenant governors, Garland Gilchrist out of Michigan, and a couple other people. And I'm blanking on everybody's name at this moment. But I'm excited for it. Kate Marshall, who's the lieutenant governor in Nevada as well. I think we're the 3 lieutenant governors who have been named vice chairs. She's a Latina out of Nevada, and it's I just assume it means more work to do. Well, that's that kind of stuff comes down to. But like I said, this is a once in a lifetime thing, and I hate that it's not gonna be what we thought it was gonna be this time last year. But it's still an incredible opportunity for the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin, and I'm just excited to have a role in. If it means more work, that's fine. I do whatever I need to do to make this a success, so that we can show off our state, albeit virtually. But I want people to recognize the role of Wisconsin, but also recognize the contributions of our state.
Man, I got to get you a Mass 365 hat or something so you can have in back of you when you're doing the convention. I need my propaganda. I need that 365 behind you or something, man.
It's all good, man.
So if I'm the governor right now, I'm glad that you're getting the love for the convention and all that stuff. But I would have to be a little nervous too. I mean, because if Biden wins, he might try to snatch you up and take you out of here.
I'm not going anywhere, man.
I'm just saying.
I'm here.
All right. Just throwing it out there. Biden,
bureaucracy. It's enough bureaucracy, in government, but at least I get to be in a principal's position, right? At this point, man, going to federal government and working for somebody else's. That's the tough thing too. Like so I think about when I lost my race in 2016. Like what was I going to do afterwards? And there were some options. Like, do I go work for somebody? And I had a good talk with my friend. He's like, dude, you don't want to do that because you've already been the elected official. You've been a principal before, and it will be very difficult for you to go work for somebody else. So, I don't see that happening.
Yeah. If someone who worked in the Obama administration, it's a different beast, man. It's just different. So yeah, I can understand why you want to do what you stay here. And we want you to stay here. I'm not trying to push you out, bro. I'm just saying, like, if I'm governor, I'm like, yo, I'll tell Biden, like, I like you, Biden, but stay up my people. You know what I mean? So who you got for the VP? I know that Biden's going to be making a picks this week, I think, right?
That's a tough one. To be honest with you, I've been pretty favorable to Elizabeth Warren in some stories I've been quoted in, but I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be a left field pick. I think it's going to be somebody who hasn't really been mentioned like that for some. I have a strange feeling. And, I'm thinking about the left field picks, like, when Trump picked his running mate, like not a whole bunch of people were thinking Mike Pence. When, Hillary Clinton chose Tim Kaine.
Which made no sense to me at all. But that's what
it didn't make sense, and nobody was talking about it. But, like, I do feel like there is, that's a much different story. But I do feel like there is that candidate somewhere who brings value to the ticket that people just haven't been talking about. I don't know who that is right now, but I just have a strange feeling that it'll be a left field pick. But I could be mistaken. We'll see. I don't know if they're going to announce it this week. They're going to make the pick this week, though.
Oh, okay.
And
it has to be a black woman, though. I mean, it has to be a black woman.
I mean, so there have been some people making some really good points. I can send you the links. Some very involved black women who've made the point that, that representation does matter, absolutely to them. But it's about who's going to be pushing for the policy to improve quality of life, because, they feel like it won't do us a service to have somebody who's going to be there for the sake of being black. And I'm not saying that about any specific person, but what I'm saying is there's some interviews, man, I can forward you from some very strong and involved black women who took on this, who've been talking about this a lot. And,
So is there argument is that just because you're black don't make you black, meaning that you can be in a position, you be a good black person, but you won't be advocating for, you don't have to necessarily be advocating black people? Or are they saying that, I don't understand the argument. Are they saying that?
Well, the argument there that they've been, they've been going with is that, like, of course they would love to see it, more than anything. I mean, if nothing else, for personal reasons. But what's really going to matter is a person who has had that track record of standing up for issues that primarily impact black people. That's like I said, I can send you some of the if had I realized I was going to be talking about it, I could have been more prepared to take on the subject matter and quote these amazing women, because they really made some good points.
I just don't know how. I just don't know, for like for me. Okay, this is just my take. I don't know how you cannot put someone in that position, not a black woman, when you were getting crushed. Until you got to the black, like South Carolina, you got strong black communities.
100% agree.
You got saved by the black community. Black
voters saved that candidate.
No question about it. And then you don't, politics is all about, this is about representation, right? You vote, you represent your issues, and then you don't put a black person in there, in that role. Oh, that would be one of the biggest mistakes I would ever have seen in a candidate made.
See, I'm not willing to go that far. I'm not willing to say to be one of the biggest mistakes. I'm not willing to say to be one of the biggest mistakes. Obviously, even for my own personal reasons, but that would be amazing, and to see it, that would be incredible. It would be something that clearly something we've never seen before, and something that we need to see as a country. Just given the reliability and the persistence of black women as an unflinching block of the Democratic Party, 100% get you there. But I do think there are some additional factors, right? But this is not to preclude anybody from being chosen as vice president at all.
I seriously, I believe that. Honestly, I really think that would be one of the biggest mistakes I've seen. I don't think it will be one of the biggest mistakes. I think it will be one of the biggest, if that does happen, I do think that will be one of the biggest shots in the arm, but I don't necessarily think it'll be the biggest mistake. Well, I always think about next time when you're trying to run a candidate and you're a white candidate running across the country trying to get the black vote. Mm-hmm. When the black people are going to say, wait a minute, we voted for you last time. And you couldn't put even one of us in this certain role, specific role, and now you want to vote next time? I think every generation you look for black folks become less loyal to the Democratic Party, right? You see more black people becoming Republicans or independents.
Well, that's a whole different story. Black people become Republicans.
But I'm just saying, it's a risk. It would be such a risk. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He's going to pick a black woman.
My thing is the logic of, if a person were to get mad, were to get upset about Joe Biden not picking a black woman as a running mate, then deciding to become a Republican, that does not pan out. There is no balance in that logic, because we're talking about a party whose entire logic has been counter to black lives in this country. And like I said before, I know I'm friends with Republicans, actual friends, and I'm not going to sit here and say that every Republican is racist, but I will say that Republicans cannot win without racism.
That's deep. Politics is about emotions, man, and people feeling like they're wanted. And I think if Biden did that, it would be he would have to really have a great story why he didn't do it. It would be a stumbling block for him for a while.
You don't gotta tell me. And I look at some of the people on his team too, like that, are going to be able, like, if it doesn't happen, people who will be able to, navigate through that and also know and it depends. It's not like, so the women that had that conversation, I will say, that have been talking about this on news, on cable news shows, their thing is not, their perspective is like, there's really only one person that's not a black woman that they are willing to go to bat for.
And
that was Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
That's who they were down for. And that's been, dude, that has been a very common reprieve from a lot of black women, where it's like,
that doesn't make any sense to me either, because she did awful with black people.
She did. I don't know that that's true, because I've seen some numbers. I've seen some numbers even recently about what her appeal would be to, or what her appeal has been, even with black voters. And I look at the people she had on her team too. That team was like stacked with black talent.
Well, this is politics, people. So we'll see what happens. Biden, bro. Hey, you better put a black suit. I'm telling you, these sisters.
I'll send him this video. I'll text it to him. Send him this video. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know who these sisters are or whatever, but I'm telling you, these sisters. Okay, don't play with these black women. I'm telling you. They know very well. Okay. So what you reading, man? Anything new?
Nothing new right now, man. Not since the last time.
Watching anything videos? Oh, I just watched Beyonce's
oh man, Black is King.
Black is King.
I've been meaning. I gotta get it. I gotta watch it. I haven't watched it yet. I will get to it.
Yeah, I watched it this weekend. It was good, man. It was, it was visual, and it was definitely Black is King. That really explains it really well.
Man, to be honest with you, I don't think I watched any TV this weekend.
Oh, well, that's probably a good thing.
I don't think I watched any TV this weekend, which is rare, very rare.
You were busy or just trying to disconnect?
Just didn't watch TV. Didn't watch TV.
Well, you get a chance, check that out. That Black is King, man. I'm interested what you think about it. It's long, but it's interesting. It's good. I mean, like it's
I bet it's good.
It's very visual. It's interesting, man. So I would love to get your perspective.
I did end up. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but I did end up watching Hamilton not too long ago.
Man, I haven't watched it yet.
I finally watched Hamilton.
Was it good?
I feel so late. It was good, man. Like the performances were. Man, it was some really amazing performances. And like, I think one of the hottest takes on there was that Lin-Manuel Miranda is so talented, and he was probably the least talented person in that production.
Really?
As talented as he is, like that, and that's just a testament to how good the rest of the people in the play were.
Man, I'll try to check that out this weekend. Some downtime, it'd be good. Even have my kids check it out. So, man, I appreciate everything you do, Mr. Vice Chair. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, you make a move. We're proud of you, man. Keep holding us down, and we'll see you next week. And tell the governor, man, I actually appreciate that he's making the state, doing the state mandate. I think it's the mask mandate. I think it's trying to make everyone safer. So I appreciate that. I actually really appreciate he's doing that on behalf of people in Wisconsin. Looking at numbers, we've got to do something. So thank you, and thank you for the governor for doing that.
Appreciate it, man. Good to talk to you always.
We'll see you next time.